Hello and welcome to another episode of Freshly Spoiled with Monique and Ryan. We just went to go see A Real Pain,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to stop myself always from saying A Royal
A royal
Pain,
pain, yeah.
which I didn't even see that movie. I don't think. I don't know. Just
It's
sounds like
a
that's
phrase, royal pain in the ass.
yeah. But right, Royal Pain. But this movie, the title of this movie was pretty great because he's a royal pain. He's I just said it again. He's a real pain.
Yeah.
But they're talking about a real pain and like how to deal with real pain is a lot of the theme of this movie. So cleverly named
Mm-hmm.
by Jesse Eisenberg,
Yeah.
his directorial debut. Do you like him?
I do.
Yeah. I do too. And I would probably say this on every episode of this podcast, but again, wasn't super stoked about going to see this movie just based on the trailer.
Yeah. No.
This was again it's got Oscar buzz, so I thought, all right, let's see this movie.
Yeah, it was kind of like, all right, let's watch it.
Right.
Let's see.
But this is why we do this.
Yeah.
Because I absolutely love this movie. Like, this is why I put myself in the position to watch movies I might not run out to see.
I was kind of excited to talk about this because we wait till we're here to talk about how we feel about the movie, and I couldn't gauge really how you felt about it.
Yeah, we were tight-lipped about it
Yeah.
after we left. And we thought, it's the downside of doing this is that it's a lot of like, save it for the podcast. Don't talk about it. Don't bring it up. But I guess we're calling it a podcast, but so yeah, you didn't know how I felt, and
No.
I didn't really know how you felt either.
Yeah.
But now you know how I feel.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I felt like the topic was really emotional, but for some reason it didn't evoke that in me. Like, even when they went to the concentration camp, I wasn't heavy-hearted. Like, I am about the subject, and sometimes it could be portrayed.
Hot take. Yeah. I didn't really care when they were
No,
touring where the Jews were
care.
burnt.
No.
I was like,
No. I just thought I don't know, something about the emotional component of grabbing me and it just wasn't there for me. I still liked the movie, and I liked other things about it, but I feel like that part was kind of short for me.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that definitely registered for me, that part.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing because I was able to watch the movie and kind of take in other aspects of it rather than be emotionally pulled to be drawn to feeling a certain way.
yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I just think that he did such a good job of writing a script that dealt with two things side by side.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like we're putting on display dealing with real pain and dealing with your little day-to-day bullshit, your personal pain, and what is more valuable, what do you give weight to, what do you, and then dealing with a person in your life that you I went to look up the characters because I hate referring to people as the actors' names, but the Jesse Eisenberg character, I so related to him in so many ways.
Kind of too. Yeah. As a personality rather than the other.
Yeah, because he,
not
Kieran
Macaulay
Culkin.
Kieran Culkin, yeah.
Was such such a hateable character to me. Not hateable, not across the board, but the things that when he was hateable, it was extremely hateable. When he was doing the things, it didn't matter to me that he was charismatic and that he was eventually got everybody on his side. He made me uncomfortable so many times.
Mm-hmm.
The Jesse Eisenberg. Let's see, what's the character name? David. So it's Benji and David. Benji was Kieran, and David was
I'll probably forget that in a second, but
yeah.
Okay.
So the David character, just being so a rule follower. I'm a rule follower that when they were trying to figure out how to get to the roof, I'm the first person. I've been in those positions. It's not worth it. We're not meant to be up there. Let's just go back. And the whole it's just this is our home. We belong to be up there. It's I don't want to be put in a position. I don't even want to be put in a position for somebody to have to tell me you can't be here.
Mm.
I don't want to make somebody have to I don't want to make somebody uncomfortable. Like they're doing their job,
I
being
could
like,
see that about
you got to be
yeah,
like, yeah.
yeah,
I don't mind speaking out against people, but we've talked in our personal life before. It's like you have to prove to me that you're not worth my caring. But if you're just doing a job, I don't want to make your job harder than it needs to be.
yeah. You're so thoughtful.
Um,
I feel I aligned with him more for the kind of introverted, quieter, like onlooker
Yeah.
vibe that he gave off.
mhm.
And I liked Benji's character, like because he was so extroverted and like willing to engage people, and I love that. I love people like that. That you just have this like spark when you walk in, and you know people want to like listen to you and do
Yeah.
things with you, and
Yeah, I do too. And that scene where he said, you know, you walk into a room and you light it up, and then you shit on everything.
and then you should right because he just takes it too far, and like
Yeah,
it's almost like so because I was thinking like okay well yeah you're just too opinionated, you're like having an opinion is fine, speaking your mind, being honest, but then you're imposing that onto other
Yeah.
people. But then they kind of made a point when they were in the cemetery and he was telling the tour guide, you're talking too much, you're giving too much like information, let's take it more down to a personal level. But then at the end of the movie, he was all like, thank you for giving me feedback. I appreciate it.
right.
And they were all just like, bye. Nice to meet you.
David.
David.
Yeah, thanks, David. Nice to meet you.
Yep.
Yeah, I get it. Like it's you. What's this phrase? Usually it's about women. It was like a well-behaved women.
Rarely
Well-behaved
make
women
history.
rarely make history.
Yeah.
You know, the same could be said about anybody. It doesn't
Yeah,
need to just
just
be a
being
woman. It's
human
just
and-
so.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, he's a memorable character. He speaks out. But my issue with that was like how he went about doing it. Like I'm the person who would have a conversation with that tour guide about that.
Mhm.
I'm not. I wouldn't shy down from being, but it's you take him aside. You don't make a public display of it.
Yeah,
You take him aside,
embarrass him.
like, hey, listen, like, did you ever?
Mhm.
It's a way you go about things, and there's a kind way to do it.
Yeah.
That I felt so bad, like the pain in that guy's eyes.
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes like that's such a great acting job. Sometimes, to me, good acting is when you forget that somebody's acting, and that guy to me, he showed that pain so well. Like he's feels like he's
Just
been in
got
that position.
shot down.
Yeah, and like
he was
he's
"All right."
hesitant to do anything,
Mhm.
going forward. So, we'll speak to that on. We just watched The Gladiator as well, and there's I have a lot of acting comments about that because that was a lot of big acting, big choices in that. But to me, I like small, subtle, minuscule acting where you just seems like a person.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agreed with most of what he said. The Benji character, but
Mhm.
I just hated the way he went about saying it. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
you absolutely voice your opinions. So much of what you like, it's so much is bullshit, and you're calling out the bullshit, and totally agree. But be a better person about it.
Right.
Like the ends doesn't justify the means to me.
Mhm.
But that's a memorable trait. All that makes him that memorable character.
Yeah. Mhm.
I thought for sure, by the way, when David was at the table and he kind of was just oversharing, I thought for sure he was going to walk in behind him and overhear him. And
Yeah,
I guess,
that kind of made me anxious. I was like looking
yeah.
over his shoulder and seeing like in the background,
Yeah.
oh God, is he going to walk in? Is he going to get upset?
yeah, I'm happy he didn't, and maybe he did. They didn't explain. They didn't show that he did.
No, it just like went to him playing the
Playing
piano.
the piano, so we have to trust what they're telling us.
Mhm.
So they didn't tell us that he overheard anything. But yeah, I was happy they didn't, because that's like a trope, and he's too smart to know to just keep
Mhm.
talking.
Mhm.
So that would have been a very mismatched personality trait or role that he wouldn't think I shouldn't be talking about this guy, and the fact that his back was to the door. Like,
Yeah.
I would have preferred if the whole scene was shot with him facing where Benji would be coming from, so that tension, I didn't need that tension to be part of it.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate everything you said, whether he was oversharing. If all they would have to do to remove the
Yeah, that-
unnecessary tension was
yeah.
just flip the table
Uh-huh.
around or have him come from the direction, and then I would have been like, all right, he's going to know when to shut up before he walks
Right.
in behind them.
yeah.
But tension is part of storytelling, so I'm sure that was on purpose. And
Yeah, he probably thought that out.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
All right, let's keep that and make a choice to not
to
not do it.
Yeah, right.
Not give the people what
Yeah.
they're expecting.
It's just so funny to watch Jesse Eisenberg write and direct a movie that Jesse Eisenberg would absolutely be in. It's like, so he's been in all these movies all these years. And it's like, oh, he's acting in movies that he absolutely loves. Like, this is what he wants to do. He wants to
Yeah.
do this type of film, and I love him for him.
Yeah, I felt that. I felt that from him. Like I just watched him walking around, and I
Yeah.
was like, "You look so comfortable." Like,
Right. But this could have been a Noah Baumbach movie that would have starred Jesse Eisenberg. And it would have been like, and maybe that's, you grew up in that world, so that's what you love to do. And yeah, that's just like, oh, I liked this movie. I want to make movies like this. And you were in that movie. But I appreciated him not making some stupid movie,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I like the setting in Poland,
Mm-hmm.
and that it was like you just kind of saw parts of the city of Warsaw that were
Warsaw in the countryside.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the train was nice to see. The
Beautiful, yeah. I mean, it made me, I have a list of places I want to see, but I was like, oh, definitely I would add Poland to the list after this
Yeah.
movie, just because there is so much history and it looks like
I
a beautiful.
went
Mhm,
and
yeah.
got to take a train ride like that. I spent a lot of time in like a small city, which was really beautiful, but then also got to spend time in the countryside, which was just as
Yeah.
beautiful but
Oh,
different.
absolutely. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. Yeah.
I did go to Warsaw, but it was like in a city center almost. It wasn't how it was portrayed there.
Huh.
Like, it was very different. But
I'm interested to see that big statue, that big memorial statue.
yeah,
I assume that's been there for a long time, and it was there when you were there.
yeah, I don't remember it.
I mean, you weren't there for, you're not Jewish, are you?
No, I'm not.
So
but,
you weren't there for.
Yeah, that's what I kind of figured. Like most of those things I didn't see because those were tailored. They were like on the tour. Like, okay, we're gonna hit these things that are meant for this specific tour.
I love the cast, the choices of the characters that they chose to have them on the tour with. I think were great. It was a nice mix of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that scene with the posing for in the front of that monument.
That was fun.
That was really fun. That was kind of laid the groundwork for what this is going to be. This is, he's going to be the character who does bold things, but I didn't think that was an appropriate thing to do.
You didn't think it was inappropriate?
I don't think it was an appropriate thing to do. Like, I would have been the David character, being like, we shouldn't really do that. Like, this is kind of most solemn.
I was thinking, I'm like, I would have ran up there with him because I feel like I think it's you're there once in a lifetime. Like, just
yeah.
Like just do it and have fun, and you're not doing it to be disrespectful. You know what I mean? Like, you're not defacing anything.
Yeah. I think my opinion was changed once you were posing and like he was acting out like we were fighting with them. It's like, all right, I was kind of sold on it, but I definitely would not have done it.
And it was a bonding thing for the
them,
group too. Like it wasn't about other people. It wasn't about offending other people. It was about this group of people finding comfort in each other for what their lineage, went through.
But I wondered if David felt like he missed out on that moment, or if he was okay just not being part of that, or
I don't know. I feel like they didn't like make that a big part of the movie, but I feel like he probably did miss out. Like, he said he was okay with it,
right.
and he's like, it's fine. Like, I had fun watching you guys.
And then later at the end, he said like, I wish I was more like you.
Yeah.
And he said he was jealous of him a couple times, and he wish he was more like him. But I don't like people say that, but I don't think that's the case, because I think he likes his life. I think he likes being the way he is, and he likes following the rules, and he likes not having that over his head that he's making people uncomfortable. His whole thing was like, I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. He's kept apologizing for him to the other group, like, I'm sorry. Like, I've been in that position so many times with people that I know and friends that I've been out with, and I'm like apologizing for people, like, I'm sorry that, like,
I know, but I also think that's something like, that's why it kept coming up, because I feel like something in his life that he needs to just kind of be like, that's not my responsibility. It's not I shouldn't be apologizing for this person. Like, I didn't do that. This person should be apologizing.
Yeah.
So maybe like a learning lesson for him to be like,
I don't think it's a bad quality though, to be concern yourself with how people are feeling.
I don't think so either. I feel like I'm a considerate person, and I don't want to inconvenience people. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. I try to be very
And you want
mindful
people to
of
know
that, but also I have been in the position where I am also apologizing for other people, and it's exhausting and it's not necessary. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a point where you do what you feel like you need to do in that situation, but
Yeah. I'm I like the other people to know that like you're not crazy, like you're right. And I feel like it does calm things down if the person that's with this other person can validate their opinions. Like, am I crazy for thinking this person is like out of his mind? And if the person if his own cousin is like sorry, then that kind of cools things down to be like, all right, at least. And then after he explained his story over dinner, I felt like they, were more.
they got a little history and background
Yeah.
on.
I feel like I probably would have the first sense I would have got at him being a little unhinged. I would have taken him aside, but like, listen, he explained to everyone, all the other members of the tour, to be like, he's going through some stuff. He tried to kill himself not too long ago. So like, just be patient with him. Like he does, like he's gonna say some outlandish stuff. Just try to roll with it. Don't let him get in your way. Don't let him get in your head. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess just also like, yeah, he's apologizing. He's like, I'm so sorry for this. I'm so sorry for that. But at the end of the movie, everybody loves him, and everybody's like, thank you so much. And I just feel, for me, that's what I got from that for those two characters. Like, kind of, and then also all the way at the end, it's just him sitting. He said the same thing that he said in the beginning of the movie, which is, like, you meet crazy, wild people at the airport. He said the same thing. And I think he's homeless. I think he didn't have anywhere to go. And that's what he does, is he hangs out there.
Well,
because he's like, he's got the energy of people.
Yeah. Well, I think it's funny to say, because like he is the crazy person at the airport. Like you meet the craziest person at the airport. It's like, no, that's like, people are meeting you.
True.
Like you're the crazy person that people meet at the airport. And I actually agree with that. I like going to the airport. I like the airport. I like going to the airport early. I like sitting in a terminal. I like waiting for a plane. Like I like because I'm a people watcher. You know that.
Yeah.
I'm a stare, and I feel like you can really just plant yourself and just disappear. Like everybody's so concerned with what they're doing. You can just stare at people, and they're too worried about their travels to pick up on you. So I do like that. I like walking up and down. Like I love it. That's like one of my favorite parts about traveling is a benefit that I have is like when I travel, I look forward to the flight day.
That's so funny.
It's like I like the flight itself. I like being removed from all responsibility. It's like, okay, you're in the air right now. There's nothing you can do. So you might as well sit down. You might as well finally work on that thing you've been working on. That being said, as soon as the plane takes off, I fall asleep and I sleep on the airplane. It just puts me to sleep. So I always have these grand plans that I want to do while the plane's in the air, and I just sleep. So I'll take that. It's better to be well rested after a flight than having drawn a picture of a pigeon that I've been trying to do.
That you've been trying to work on.
Yeah, I just can't seem to find to do on land. Yeah, I wondered that too if he was homeless, but I don't think he cares.
Yeah.
Weird relationship with his grandmother. I mean, a little too close. He's talking about his grandmother's feet, which is funny because in my stand-up act, I used to do a bit about my grandmother's feet. But it was not that I was like I appreciated him. I was like
you were.
Yeah, they
on the
were
opposite
a little funky. So it's funny that he was like, "Oh, she had the best feet." I was like,
He's like, you have feet just like her.
"You have feet just like grandma." And then he kept looking at his feet, like, I guess I never looked at my feet before. Again, don't start now. Don't listen to this guy. Yeah, and then I didn't realize, I knew that going into it that it was about the Holocaust, but I didn't know that until like a week ago, before seeing it.
I went in
I was like,
cold,
oh,
not
really? Like, I
knowing.
really didn't look into it at all because I don't
Yeah.
really like Kieran Culkin. Like,
Oh.
not that I don't like, and I think one of the reasons I went to go see this is he's getting talked about for best actor. I think it's also maybe getting talked about for best original screenplay, maybe best picture. Like but I was trying to judge his acting to see how I feel about it,
Mhm.
and I think it's, if there was a category for best casting, he should win, but
Okay.
not best acting. I think he was just perfectly his character that he just is.
Mhm.
I don't think he's a good actor because I think he can't do much more than what he does in this and when he did in Succession. It's kind of the same thing. Like, and some actors do that. They bring themselves to a movie rather
Yeah.
than bringing Denzel. Same thing. I think that
Oh,
Denzel
Yeah.
kind of is Denzel in everything. Like, he always has that
Kinda excited
Denzelisms.
to talk about that movie.
Yeah. And I just think there's like, there's those characters. There's the Jeff Goldblums and Christopher Walken. Like, they're always bringing a little bit of themselves to the role, which is valuable. And it's like, all right, if a movie needs that type of character, there you go. You pluck this guy out, and
Mhm.
So he wrote this character. Like, this was role was meant for Kieran Culkin because I think that character fit perfect. That's exactly who you want for that role. But it doesn't make it a good actor.
Right.
It makes it he's perfectly cast for this role. And then
Sure.
you just let him go and do what he does.
Yeah.
This, like, that quick-witted, non-caring, sharp-tongued character. Yeah, he does that well, but that's all he does. Does that make him a good character?
He doesn't have range.
A good actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. But if it serves as the movie and his acting job was what you needed, then maybe that was a best acting performance.
Yeah.
It's just hard to say. It wasn't, to me, it wasn't. I didn't get. I'm always watching him just be Kieran Culkin. Like, I think Jesse was like similar thing. He kind of is always him in every movie, but
I know.
I enjoy that character more. I like the
really
neurotic Woody
yeah.
Allen type of character more.
It's so
Yeah.
cool to see him now, like, as getting older, and like
Yeah.
now you could see him as an older man, like, kind of envisioning what he's gonna look like when he's older.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. I really like him. I like that now he's getting involved in making, like, his own visions rather than just acting, and that it's something in this direction. It's almost like, oh, we have another little filmmaker on our hands, so we can pay attention to
Yeah.
every couple of years. Maybe puts out something that I'm interested in, rather than a big thing, big production.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Good so
Glad that
yeah.
we
Well,
went
I was
to-
just gonna say, yeah, that the the Jewish part of it, the Holocaust part of it, added a good undertone to comparing the real problems
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
when he was at the table talking to the family. Like, one thing I really related to when he was like, my problems are so unspectacular. I forget what he said, but he said, like, so not special
Mhm.
that I don't want to bother anybody with them.
Mhm.
And that's how I
Yes.
feel
Yes.
so often,
Yeah.
is like, my problems compared to anybody else's problems are, like, I would be embarrassed if, like, what's that old saying? Like, if everybody threw their problems into a pile, you would pick yours back up in a second. Like, you'll gladly take your problems if you saw the other problems that were available.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel you're valid to express yourself no matter what level of, like,
Right. To loved ones
trouble
and people
you're
that are close to you and people
Yeah,
that know
but
that.
when you're going out in the world and you're making everybody else pay for what
Mhm.
you've been through, it's like,
Yeah.
you
right.
know, just
It's like, yeah, we're all dealing with shit, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
this is save this for the people closest to you. Make them deal with the worst of you. Like, don't put that on the public. Jesus, we're all doing a thing here. We're all acting like. But then that's also the thing too. Is I would think I think about that too. I'm like, we should speak out more and we should stand for something more. But it does disrupt the comfort of a day-to-day life.
It does.
And
but actually, that one part was inspiring. When they were walking over the bridge and they were all talking, kind of about that, about activism, and David's character was like, "Yeah, why should we upset the apple cart, so to say?" And like,
Yeah.
you know, and they're like, because then there would be less pain in the world
Right.
if we all tried to make
Well,
a change.
what good does it do being sad about something? Because then maybe there'd be less to be sad about.
Yeah,
Um,
that was
Yeah, but I think as much as I'm like an optimist in so many things, I'm a pessimist in so many things, and I just feel like it dropped in a bucket. Like, I ask myself all the time, what am I doing to make the world better? And I think I came to a conclusion a long time ago that the way I can best serve humanity is to be in a good mood as much as possible. And it just sounds like an excuse to be like, just be, but if and I don't, I don't do this as much as I want to do it, but like just make people happy in a day-to-day life and be nice to people in public. And I'm not, because I get, like I get frustrated with people when I think a lot of people, like I feel like I'm just met with a lot of stupidity, and that's the one thing I don't have patience for. So it's so hard for me to do that, but I would like to be in a good state of mind that I feel like I can service the world by being friendly to people. And because how often throughout your day, if you have a small interaction with somebody, with a stranger, if you're like maybe a little bit of a funk, or like you're in your head about something, if a stranger, if you have a small interaction with somebody and they're nice to you, it can change your mood completely. So I'm better off being that person.
Yeah.
I mean, but like I said, that being said, I don't do it. So, you know what I mean? Like, I like just hanging out with you and making you laugh. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not doing anybody else any good, because I'll make fun of somebody else to make you laugh, but you're already in a good mood. You're already doing good. So it's not moving the needle
I
at all.
feel like I can take a lot of other people's shit.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard because like I do internalize things, but I feel like, I don't know, maybe that's this is gonna sound so weird, but like my gift to the world is that you could be like harsh and like, and I'll just kind of still be like, it's okay, it's fine, and
Absorb it.
Yeah, absorb it, and try to move on from there.
Well, your gift also is, your job, is, it helps people immensely. Like you make a living from it, and you do it. You wouldn't do it for free, but at the same time, like you just happen to pick a profession that allows people to come in, and they can be tense, and they can be stressed, and they can be upset, and like when they leave your job, after your service, they're in a better place. And it's like, that's,
Yeah, I think I'm in the best position to do that because I'm most comfortable in that environment. So like, you know,
right.
If I was working in another place, maybe not.
Yeah.
I'd be frantic and anxious and not able to deal with people. But
it's great. It's a great thing that you have.
setting.
I tell myself that I deliver food for a living, and I'm like, one of my favorite things to do is to go out to eat, and I know other people like to go out to eat, and I get for me and my job and my service, that wouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
So I like that I provide a service that I believe in, and I think that makes people happy, but it's not as directly as you.
I think it's direct. It's just in a different way.
Yeah. It's just compared to those jobs that are out there that you think like, what do you do? Like, and does anybody benefit from you?
Oh, well, back
like
to
the job
movie,
that you have.
David's job.
Yeah.
David's job was creating
ads.
ad banners.
Yeah.
And Benji was like, "Oh, that sucks. Like you're
right.
You're causing all this frustration in the world." And he was all like,
"Yeah,
but I do it well." But
yeah,
like that's what
and
I
it's
do.
valuable, and I understand both sides of that too. It's like, nobody wants those ads, but I always think about, like, anytime someone's like, "Oh, I got ad blockers on my webpage," I'm like, but those are literally what's paying the content that you're going to that website for and that you appreciate is there because people make money from ads. So you're
the first person. I mean, nobody's ever said that. I remember you said that to me, and I was like, huh. Because
Yeah,
I'm always so
what
pissed
do you
at that
think
stuff. And I'm
websites
like, get
make
away. No,
money
no,
from?
no, no. And you made me think about it. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
should I care?
Right. Yeah, like I pay for YouTube Plus so that I don't see the ads, but I'm giving them directly money. It's like me saying like, don't show me ads and I'll just give you the money.
Yeah.
But when I had it for free, I was always like, oh, these ads. I was always like, yeah, they need ads. I'm not giving them any money. Like, and I appreciate the content, like the services they're providing.
Yeah.
So they have to get money like through ads. And it's like, if you're so sheepish that you're gonna buy something on an ad that's shitty that you don't need, like if you're gonna fall
Yeah.
into the commerce of it, that's your problem.
Right.
Like, and then it must work, and they're gonna try to gear it towards. Sometimes you see ads, it's like, oh, I actually needed that. Like, so sometimes the ads are useful.
Right.
And I don't.
You forget
I'm just,
about something you need. You're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm
Good.
just strong-minded enough to not buy something I don't need. So it's not, well, maybe not need, but want. Like my algorithm knows me, and they're like, hey, there's a new light that's available from Newer. You might want to buy this. I'm like, oh, I do want that.
Yeah.
But it serves
No,
me
I
a
know.
purpose. I'm
I
not
know.
buying bullshit that I don't, That's not true. I mean, I live a maximal lifestyle. I don't need these lights. But I bought
They are
them.
cool.
Well, I bought them because I saw them on Instagram. So maybe I'm full of shit. Let's put these on. No, but that never bothered me. So I was like, I understand the criticism. Like, oh, you make ads but that does make the world go round. I think if you shut the whole internet down, that's a conversation. But yeah, maybe we don't need the internet. But if the internet's there, people got to make money from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really sweet scene though when he came home. It made me feel like he
to his
for
family?
all the doubt that he has, and then he's home and he doesn't work. He doesn't think about that. He doesn't spend his day-to-day life thinking about Benji, and he wishes he was like Benji. When he's with Benji, he feels like he wants to be with Benji. But then when he's home with his wife and kids, he's like, no, I like this life. I like being home. I love my family. I like my job. I love living in the city.
Yeah.
And you're happy. It's not when you're not until you're faced with something that you are jealous with that you feel jealousy.
Right.
If you can just avoid dealing with that, then you don't have to face it, So he doesn't want that. It's just when he sees it, he's like, oh, that would be nice. But if it was nice, you would work towards it. Like, I used to be shy, and I didn't want to be so shy. So I'm just not going to be shy. Like, who gives a fuck? I just stopped. You know what I mean? Like, it's easier said than done sometimes, but
I think it's also a personality trait too, like to a certain level. Maybe you saw within yourself that you were able to break through to another level.
yeah. When you see that, what can go wrong, or you do this thing and you survive it, and you go, that wasn't so bad. So then you push it, you keep pushing a little more, then you realize and then I realized I always felt inferior, like I wasn't smart enough to be around people if I was going to see something stupid. And I just met enough stupid people. It was like, oh, I'm smarter than a lot of people. Like, I'm not smart by any means, but I'm smarter than a lot of these people. Like, these people don't intimidate me anymore. But that's because I feel like I live in a place where the bar is low. And this is like insulting to people who I live around. But if I'm around the city, I feel like, oh, these people, I'm intimidated by these people. I'm not intimidated by anybody that I live around, I'm like big fish, little pond over here. So as far as intelligence goes. And I sit with my legs crossed, so
There you
I'm
go.
doing pretty good.
Pretty
Pretty good. I twirl my ankles sometimes as a
Very
sign of
fancy.
intelligence. You ever see a Superman sit like this and twirl his ankle?
No,
Doesn't happen.
doesn't happen.
Okay, I think I got everything out.
Yeah.
Before this goes too long, what are we at? Oh yeah, that's almost 40 minutes.
Wow.
See, I said like these things like 15 minutes, and then we get to talking, and I'm gonna do a and so count on this one. I apologize. I'm trying to get better at filler words. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah. No.
No.
No. I
Okay.
enjoyed it. I'm glad that we watched it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked it more than you, but you enjoyed it, and
I
Yeah.
liked it. I enjoyed it. I just, like I said, my only thing was it. I think for me it was trying to give an emotional reaction, but it didn't spark that in me. But I was happy that it didn't, because it allowed me to kind of see things just like kind of factually. And
Yeah, that worked for me. I mean, I it's that when they went through the camps and the shoes, like, and
yeah,
like that was like, I've seen it before. I've been to the museum in DC, the Holocaust Museum, and I was probably too young, but I was definitely even still struck by that. And
wow,
it's jarring for sure. And I felt it, even them documenting it, walking through it. I thought it was beautiful. It was well shot, cinematography. They let it just kind of be quiet. And I thought it was funny too when when they got to there and the tour guide said, "I'm not going to talk a lot. I'm going to kind of let this place speak for itself." And it was almost like, see, Benji, he was getting to it. He wasn't going to, like, he knows. Like, he's just, like, he was talking to one person. Yeah. And then the rocks at the end, I thought was very funny when they put the rocks down in a big ceremonious way. They're like, yeah, you got to pick those rocks up, and they have to pick them back up.
Woman that lives there, like,
Yeah.
okay.
I thought for sure that that guy was going to know their grandparents, and they were going to have a talk about like he had lived there when his grandmother was there, and they were going to connect about that, like that, they had some relationship. The old man, but
No.
didn't. Yeah. I'm always happy to be proven wrong with something like that. Like, oh, I see where this is going, and then it's not. I was like, oh, okay, good. Like there wasn't an obvious script. Well, thank you so much for watching, and we hope you liked this episode as well as A Real Pain. Till next time. Bye-bye.